Gender identity disorder in children is when a girl thinks she's a boy and a boy thinks he's a girl. Physically they're one sex, but mentally they're the other.
I am actually a girl. In my head and my heart, I am a girl. The only thing which doesn't match at all is my body, and I intend to change that.
He'd want to wear a skirt or a dress. I'd say, but boys don't wear that. Well, I'm not a boy, I'm a girl. This is at 3.5 years old.
He wants to get the knife out the kitchen drawer. He bites and bites and bites his skin till it's so sore. He likes causing himself pain.
It's a very distressing condition and carries with it the threat of being bullied and even suffering violence.
It's not his fault. It's nobody's fault. So why do we have to live like this, in fear?
Some children will grow out of it, and others will go on to become adult transsexuals. This film is about 4 children and their families who are all facing difficult choices about how to live their lives.
Dear Mum and Dad, I'm not happy with who I am. By that I mean my gender. I'm not happy being male and never have been. I act female when you're not around. I feel I was placed into the wrong body. I know to you this may seem a complete shock, but please try to look at it from my point of view. As I write this, I feel I could curl up into a ball and block the world from seeing me, and sparing me the humiliation of everyday life. The time is 4:44 AM and I have thought about writing this letter for 3 years. Thanks.
It's a total shock. Total shock.
Totally unexpected. Yeah. Completely out of the blue. Yeah, we just didn't have any idea at all.
And how did you both react to it when he first told you?
Yeah, my natural thing was just to disbelieve it and just think, no, it can't be. But then again, when you look at the letter that he actually wrote to us, then you think, well, there might be a little bit more in it, because it was an extensive letter.
It's a heartbreaking letter. Yeah, it showed lots of his feelings that we just didn't know.
When I first met Chris, he'd been feeling this way for years, but had only written the letter to his parents 9 months earlier, at the age of 17. Watching him play football, I was surprised that this awkward teenage boy actually felt he wanted to be a girl.
I always wish the birthday cakes, when you blow out the candles, I want to be a girl. It was never, oh, I want a pair of roller skates or anything like that. It was always that. Never changed. That still hasn't changed. When I see myself in the mirror, I don't like what I see at all. My ultimate goal is to have a 100% female body. Of course, that will never properly happen, but I'll get as far as I can.
We're losing our son. You know, it's like we've got to grieve because we're going to lose Chris, and there's going to be somebody else there, and inside it's going to be Chris, but we've got to sort of accept,
come to terms
and
with
come
him
to terms with who he's going to be.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Something I have to do to live out my life normally. Otherwise, I don't know what I've resort to.
Gender identity disorder normally shows itself when the child is a toddler, in a variety of ways.
These young children will exhibit behaviors. For example, genetic boys will demonstrate typically feminine behavior. Hide the penis, cross legs, sit down to pee, refuse to wear boy-like clothes, does not participate in rough and tumble play. Typical girl-like behavior. Opposite is as well. A genetic female young girl will exhibit behaviors that are very male-like, tomboy-like, rough and tumble play. Mommy, I have a penis, not a vagina, and she'll show it. Mommy, I'm standing up to pee. Where did she learn that?
Georgina is 9 and dresses as a boy full-time. She lives with her mum and her little brother, and since the age of 3 she's been convinced she's a boy. She now only answers to the name George. The most obvious thing when I met George was that she found it almost impossible to talk about being a girl or about having gender identity disorder. To spare any distress, we've disguised the family's identities and used an actor to speak George's words. Would you say you've always known you're a boy?
Mhm.
What would you say if people said to you, oh, you're just a bit of a tomboy?
Punch him.
Are you like Georgina in The Famous Five?
Mhm.
But she was just a tomboy. Tell me, why are you different from George in The Famous Five?
'Cause I am a boy.
Do you think you'll stay like this forever, George?
Mhm.
I can't remember the first time when George said, I'm a boy, or I want to be a boy. I never realised for quite a long time, even she was saying, call me Martin, that's my name. I want to be called Martin. I'm a boy. And because the kids play up and they play dressing up and they've all got all these different costumes and they come out with all these different characters, that I just thought, oh, this is just a playful, I'm called Martin. And I would shout, Martin, come and get your tea. And it's just like a huge big game. And then it got a little bit more serious. It's like, I'm not wearing girls' clothes, I'm not doing this. It was so scary and upsetting for me as a parent. So I was really lost in my own feelings of grief because I'd lost my daughter. My daughter had gone and vanished and I didn't know where she was. Georgina had gone.
Like most children with gender identity disorder, George was adamant that she wanted to dress and behave as the opposite sex. This is known as transitioning. The question of when and whether to allow their child to transition can be a painful one for parents.
The first boy haircut came along age 8. She's been crying for about a year to have her hair cut. I was going, but I love your hair, because I'm a mum and I want my wee girl. It was sad for me, but it's the way forward for George.
Do you ever wonder whether you're doing the right thing by letting her be a boy?
I think you wonder if I'm doing the right thing, but it just feels the right thing to do, even though I have doubts in the back of my mind. But we just have to live day for today, and today George is a boy.
But tomorrow she may not be, and that's the biggest dilemma about how to treat children with gender identity disorder. Studies have shown that they are more likely to grow out of it than to become adult transsexuals.
I did a long-term study beginning with kids, average age 7, and we followed them into young adulthood. These boys were very feminine boys. Many of them said that they wanted to be girls. All of them showed extensive girl-type behaviors. We also had another group of boys who were different in that the other group of boys were conventionally masculine. These boys grew up to become heterosexual young men. The previously feminine boys, by the time they became adolescents, about 3/4 of them no longer had gender identity disorder. And they became gay or bisexual young men.
Back in Stoke, I felt I had to ask Chris the obvious question. Chris, are you sure that you're not gay?
No, I'm not gay. No, I'm not gay. I don't... And you're going to raise the fact, saying, oh, you're a feminine lad, you can be gay. But, no, that wouldn't feel right at all. I have to be a girl, in my eyes, to have a proper relationship with a lad.